Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the unveiling of the first Nissan Altima V8 Supercar. I would now like to hand you over to Jeff Fisher, General Manager Motorsport at Nissan Australia.
Well, good morning and welcome. Just a few weeks back, the VK engine was the first time you saw the hardware behind the vision. Nissan is proud to have partnered with Kelly Racing, a forward-thinking organisation that has drawn on its boundless energy, talent and enterprise to get this far. The race car you'll soon see is our crowning glory, and from this moment we begin speaking as one, as Nissan Motorsport. Today the Nissan Altima V8 Supercar goes live. Today this event is being streamed live across Australia and around the world to race fans, Nissan customers and the motorsport industry. Yes, it's a momentous occasion for V8 Supercars, and it's a watershed moment for Nissan. Our organisation is gearing up for a global embrace of motorsport as the ultimate expression of excitement through innovation. In a moment, Nissan Australia's Managing Director and CEO Bill Peffer is going to take a moment to touch on the importance of racing in the Nissan world. Rick Helly will comment on the birth of a new V8 Supercar and its potential to impact the sport's paradigm shift. As we show you the Altima race car, Todd Kelly is going to brief you on the technical and engineering journey that his team has navigated for most of this year. We've allowed time for a brief question and answer session, and finally, a photo opportunity with the car with Rick and Todd in Nissan race suits. For the moment, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nissan Australia Managing Director and CEO, Bill Peffer.
Thank you, Jeff, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, you have to listen to one more suit before Rick and Todd reveal the exciting car which you're here to see today. Welcome to our very special event. Two things will occur today. Something will start and something will end. And today we're going to end the intrigue surrounding our 2013 Nissan Altima V8 Supercar. Day is finally here. What it looks like, what's under the skin, and we're also going to put an end to the intrigue so many fans, media, and well-wishers have endured trying to imagine what this vehicle, this Nissan Altima V8 Supercar is going to look like. But more importantly, we're here to start something. We're starting the next big chapter in Australia motor racing history. Now, you know we were there. Nissan was there at the close of the last one 20 years ago with the all-conquering GTR. Now, 2 decades later, we're again delivering Australian racing's next big change. The centerpiece of this change is called the Nissan Altima. You've already been briefed. It's an all-new sedan that will go on sale late in 2013. And as a road car, the Nissan Altima is very stylish and dynamic. As a racing car, it's going to simply be a jet. You're going to get to see this thing in a few moments. Before you do, though, I'd like to remind you why Nissan is entering Australia V8 Supercar Championship Series next year. At Nissan, 2 characteristics drive everything we do: innovation and excitement. We're underlying both by joining the grid in the 2013 V8 Supercar Championship Series. And we took the decision to give the Altima nameplate a fast start in this important market, the Australian market, well ahead of the public launch of the Altima. We wanted to do this using an exciting and innovative marketing platform, and so the answer was pretty clear to us: enter V8 Supercar Championship. By doing so, we're bringing fresh and innovative technologies to the racing series, And it's something that we've done, that Nissan has done in other parts of the racing world. And as an example, I'd ask you to take a look at the amazing Nissan Delta Wing Racer, and you'll get a flavor for what I mean. We're also bringing pedigree power to the V8 Supercar Championship. The Nissan VK engine, the one that Jeff mentioned earlier, the one we revealed a few weeks ago, that's the core of our Ultima V8 Supercar. It's the same basic engine that's been used in other great Nissan racers to date, such as our LMP2 cars from this year's Le Mans 24-hour race. In fact, the VK 56 engine also powered to victory in last year's FIA GT1 World Championship. Our VK56 motor is high-tech aluminum V8. It's technologically sophisticated and it packs a serious punch. It's also relevant because it's the same core engine that we will be using in our all-new 2013 Nissan Patrol, set to go on sale in February. As for the excitement, well, the racing category speaks for itself, and I think you all know that. The racing in the V8 Supercar Series is close and hard. Every edge is measured in fractions of a second. In fact, it's this series that turned the Bathurst 1000 endurance race into a sprint race. And it's captivated a huge audience of fans. Importantly, our Nissan Ultima racers will put us in front of a large and important audience, and this is an excellent opportunity to showcase Nissan, both as a brand and as a maker of exciting and innovative cars, trucks, and SUVs. For Nissan, the road to today's event has been a long journey. It's been exciting and invigorating, and we've come prepared this morning. We've mapped a plan to achieve our goals for this important venture, and we've tapped into the resources of our powerful NISMO organization, and those are the folks who transformed the VK V8 into the racing powerhouse overseas for us. Their knowledge and cooperation has been valuable in our preparations, no doubt. And we've established the right team for this challenge, because it's a big challenge, and we've selected the right people, the Kelly Racing team. And we now have one of the best teams set to tackle the 2013 V8 Supercar Championship. But I ask you today not to judge us on our intent, but to judge us on what we achieve. After all, Nissan is an achievement-focused business, and we forge strong results in competitive markets. And we plan to do the same next year on the V8 round, the 2013 Calypso 500, from the V8 2013 Calypso 500. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you to you all for coming to this special event for us. And as I've said at the opening, today is important. It marks the end and a beginning. Very shortly, we'll end the mystery and reveal the car, and we'll start a new chapter in Australian motorsport. So at this time, I'd ask that you help me welcome the team director, Rick Kelly, who is going to say a few words now. Rick?
Thanks very much, Bill. Appreciate it. I tell you what an exciting day for us. It's a dream come true for Todd and I and the whole team at Kelly Racing to stand here in front of you guys and girls and unveil a project, like I say, that we'd only dreamed of. Firstly, I'd like to take you back 4 years to the birth of Kelly Racing. There's a lot of questions that got asked when we first decided and announced to start our own team and make the shift, find a premises, get some licenses and go racing. Just a couple of country bumpkins trying to make it on their own out there against a lot of teams that had been around 10 and 15 years, which with fantastic support, internationally owned, locally owned, so much experience. There's so many questions asked. Would we get to the first race with 4 cars? Are the cars going to go around the track? How long until we're going to shut our doors? We've managed to go from one step to another, grow our team from 35 staff back in 2009 to almost 70 staff now. We've got one of the best premises in Australian motorsport, and that's what I guess is one of the keys to us developing such a fantastic car, which we'll show you in just a couple of minutes. It was a big eye-opener for myself to have John Crennan on board, and a big thanks to John for the work he has put in to getting Nissan on board. It was fantastic to have, back in late last year, Jeff Fisher and Ian Morellen at our facility and see the absolute excitement on their faces with the prospect of joining V8 Supercars, and really that motivation and excitement and passion that those guys had is why we're standing here today unveiling what really is a game changer in V8 Supercars and for Kelly Racing and also for Nissan. A brand new V8 Supercar, first time in 20 years that Nissan's going to be in the category. Certainly was a game changer that day for us back in early February, signing the document in front of all our staff to make the announcement. I couldn't be more excited then, and obviously today. It's a critical thing being a factory team in V8 supercars. I think history has shown that over the past 20 years, almost all of the teams that have won Bathurst and won the V8 Supercar Championship have had some factory assistance or an actual factory team. For us, I think that's been the missing ingredient over the last 4 years. For sure, we've come out and we've won races, we've got pole positions, including Bathurst last year, but the one key ingredient that we've really missed is that factory support. It's critical for on-track performance, but it's really something that Todd and I have missed over the last few years of Kelly Racing. We've got a lot of energy to put towards a manufacturer. We haven't had the opportunity to do that lately, and for us to see the motivation and excitement behind the whole team at Nissan to embrace us and have us as part of their brand, visiting dealers, really getting, I guess, immersed in their brand of road cars is something that we can't wait to from the start of 2013. For us, this is also a key to hopefully many years of success and a real reward for all of our business partners that have been involved in Kelly Racing and took a punt with us 4 years ago, in particular Jack Daniels. They've ridden a lot of ups and downs throughout the last 4 years with us, and having Nissan on board really is going to help us deliver the results that they absolutely truly deserve. For me, I'll take a step back and hop into the shoes of a driver. I guess at the end of the day, it is Todd and I and the other two drivers that will get the opportunity to drive this V8 supercar next year. And there's nothing more exciting from a driver's point of view to take the covers off a brand new chassis and drive it for the first time and compete in it, all nice and new, driving it as hard as you can. But to unveil a brand new car of the future chassis, a brand new Nissan Altima for next year, really takes that to a new level. For sure, we've got a big task in front of us next year, competing against Ford, Holden, and now Mercedes. But we understand that task, and with the motivation that we've got to get out there, to train harder, to work harder, and to beat those guys, I'm sure that we'll be sharing success in the not-too-distant future. Before I unveil the car, I just want to move on to one more thing and thank Todd for all of his dedication that he's put into this car that you're going to see unveiled. It's really, I think, one of his sons at the moment, part of his family. He's dedicated the last 6 months to designing this with his team at Kelly Racing and presenting it to you. And to all the team at Kelly Racing, each department over the last 6 months, it's been so interesting to walk through our facility and see the car being designed, seeing different things being produced in all the departments, whether it's machine shop, the composite shop. All the departments at Kelly Racing have had such a big influence on this product that you're about to see. So a huge thanks to all the staff at Kelly Racing, and it's an absolute pleasure to work with everyone there, and a real credit to every person that's been involved with the project. So on that note, I'd like to introduce all of you to the 2013 Nissan Altima V8 Supercar. Wow, what an amazing looking race car. The process from here is in the very near future, we'll head out to a racetrack and test this car for the very first time. We'll conduct our very own aero test to make sure that the car is somewhere within the ballpark of having the correct amount of drag and front and rear downforce before we present it to V8 Supercars. To do that, we've got a wide selection of slightly different front bars and rear wing combinations. So the car that you actually see here may not be exactly what we raced next year, obviously. I'm extremely proud of the team of 70 people at Kelly Racing that we've built up in 4 very short years that have built this car. After receiving the initial CAD in February, we've only had 7.5 months to design and build the car that you see here. That sounds like a fair amount of time, but it's taken over 23,000 hours to design and build in what my slightly biased opinion is the most impressive race car that V8 Supercars have ever seen, especially when you look under the bonnet. There's been over 12,500 hours of design and simulation work, over 350 hours of machining for the bodywork tooling, over 1,500 hours of making moulds and the first set of panels for this car, over 900 hours of fabrication, and over 2,200 hours of assembly work. And don't forget the groundbreaking VK56 engine, which has taken another 4,800 hours of design work, 400 hours of machining, 180 hours of assembly, and 150 hours of dyno testing so far. To put that into perspective, the car that you see right here is worth in excess of $1.5 million. This is the car that I've always wanted to build. A clean sheet of paper with the Car of the Future platform and an awesome looking road car in the Nissan Altima. It doesn't matter where you look on this car, you'll be looking at the highest level of design and attention to detail. There's only one way you can achieve all of that in the time frame that we've had, as well as racing 4 cars in the very demanding V8 Supercar Championship. And that is with an incredibly talented group of people with an endless amount of passion, drive, and enthusiasm. Even though our on-track performance has been challenging this year, the morale in the team has been fantastic. The place has been really buzzing for the last 6 months since we've taken on the Altima project. The commitment from the team on this project has been amazing. Each and every single team member has truly earned the right to proudly wear the Nissan badge on their chest and represent Nissan as their factory team. Bill, Ian, and Jeff, thanks for letting us loose on your Altima. And a big thanks, as Rick said, to our CEO, John Crennan. This car wouldn't be here, and neither would any of us if it wasn't for John, so thanks. Nissan and the Altima project has really been the spark that ignited the passion in our whole team at Kelly Racing, and to a large extent has ignited the passion in the whole sport. Bring on 2013.
Thanks, Todd. Well, it truly is the ultimate Altima, and a true red devil, if you will. We can't wait to show our colleagues at Nissan North America what we've done with an Altima and turning it into V8 Supercar's latest competitor. Well, we said we would have some moments for questions and answers, and we've got a few minutes to do that. So there are a couple of microphones in the audience, so I would ask you to raise your hand if you do have a question for Todd, Bill, or Rick. When you get the microphone, please announce yourself and the organization you represent. And I'll move to the side so I can actually see you.
Will Hagan, ABC Radio. We've seen a lot of footage there of all sorts of exciting high-tech, electric and other types of race car and so on, all festooned with innovation that excites. How does a V8 race car in a fairly basic situation sit with that, with a category called Car of the Future?
Well, let me start off. Thanks, Will, for the question. I'll start off and then I'll go to my colleagues here on the left and right for the technical detail. But one of the things that amazes me, and I'm no technical guru, but we are entering into a series where we're starting from scratch. So you look at the innovation that went into not only a new chassis, but the aerodynamics, a new engine, a new body. I mean, every bit of this car is new. So I don't know, I would call that pretty innovative. I mean, we're starting from scratch and going into a series where our competitors are carrying over some of their components, if you will, from previous gen cars and then going onto a new chassis into what the car of the future will be. To me, that's innovation.
The aero package right.
We've done quite a bit of work on simulation and CFD, so we're hoping that the car is pretty close. We'll find that out in the very near future when the car hits the track, but the tuning aids that we've got to take to the aero test are fairly extensive, so we've pushed extremely hard to make sure that we leave that aero test with the car homologated. It's not until we get the big tick from V8 supercars that we can really put any of those panels on the car into full production. We certainly don't want to not achieve that on the first test and then end up any later in the year than what we already are to be able to produce enough parts for Clipsal and spares for the car. So we're quite confident, even though the car will probably scare a few people in other teams as far as the look of it. When you look at the windscreen angles and the shape of the car, it's a lot different to the Ford and the Holden that's currently out there. So at first glance it looks like it'll be quite tricky, but as I said, we've got a huge toolbox of aerodynamic bits and pieces to make sure we do leave that aero test with a big tick.
How much has gone in from GT1 racing? Anything picked up from those guys?
Not a huge amount. The biggest thing is the engine. What we've been able to get from Nismo in Japan as far as advice with their expertise and their experience on the engine has been huge. To take that project on and go through our own learning process of how long components last and when certain things fail in the engine and the lifing system of all that, that would take us 3 or 4 years to go through that process, hopefully without too many failures on the track. But we've picked up pretty much where they've finished with that VK56 engine, so all of the little things that they've tuned out of that engine we've started with, so that's been a huge help. But as far as the car, once we got the Ultima CAD and started trying to fit the bodywork onto the chassis, there's really not a lot of scope to do anything too tricky. As you'll see when you see the actual road car, the similarity between this race car and the road car, they're almost identical. We haven't really changed the car much at all. Slight flaring of the rear guards and slight lengthening of the front guards, but we haven't gone and run the angle grinder through the roof skin or shorten the doors or anything. The actual doors and the roof and the bonnet and the boot, all of that stuff is exactly the same as it is on the road car. So other than the front bar and the rear wing, it's pretty much all you can play with.
Will this be an easier car to drive than what you've got out of recently?
I'm not sure. Probably a better question for Rick. He's driven a few of the transaxle prototype cars.
I think this car will drive itself. It certainly looks like it will. The Car of the Future platform is a little bit different. Everyone in the category is going to have to do a little bit of learning in the first couple of test days and definitely the first couple of race meetings to learn the best way to drive it. It does handle quite a bit differently on the way into the corners. But I think the drivers will pick that up very quickly. I think it's the engineering of this car that's going to be the biggest difference, and it's about the best team that can capitalise on those changes the quickest to to get to the front. I think that's where the true challenge will be.
I'm Reese from the Adelaide Advertiser. Just a more of a generic question to you two boys on the outside. How taxing a project has it been to be running a racing team at the moment, driving, and then trying to concentrate on a project like this all at the one time?
It's a fair bit, but at our lowest point through the last 4 years, as far as staff, we've had 38 people to run our 4-car team. Most of this year we've had around 70 full-time staff, so it has been a big workload. But the one thing that makes it extremely easy is the result that you see right there in this race car, and the enthusiasm and the passion. Basically, you forget that you're there at 9, 10 or 11 o'clock at night because you're so enthusiastic about the project, and it's something that you really enjoy. And there's a huge group of people at the race team that they just want to get near the car and be involved in it. So when you've got that amount of enthusiasm around something, it's quite easy to forget about how much work you're actually doing, and the workload becomes not so much of a problem.
And motorsport racing is so much about the fans. What sort of fan base are you anticipating for next season? Where do you think they'll come from? And also, where do you see the team fitting into this great rivalry that we've seen in the sport?
That's a great question. Back in February, when we made the initial announcement about joining forces with Nissan and Nissan entering V8 supercars after 20 years, one of our, I guess, not concerns, but something that we had to consider is the reaction that we were going to get, particularly the next day, which was a seasoning opener test day at Sandown. I think there was well over 5,000 people there, and Todd and I were a little bit concerned about that. And the excitement that we had from all the fans was a real surprise for us. Everyone, I think, really felt rejuvenated, and that the category was changing up a bit, and they were very interested to see how that was going to play out. And throughout the last 9 months, you've really seen that anticipation build. I think that'll show in ticket sales to Clipsal. Everyone is so excited to head to that first round or watch it on TV and see how it's going to play out with the new manufacturers coming in. And I think that that's invited a lot of new fans to come to V8 supercar racing and enjoy it. I think if you look at sales of those sorts of cars, in particular Commodore and Falcon, over the last 10 years, there's certainly a smaller market share there now for those guys, and there's a lot of other cars coming into the market and ones that have been around for a little while who are growing in strength. And it's very important from a category point of view that we open it up to those other cars and other brands like Nissan to bring more fans into the sport so that they can turn up on the Saturday and Sunday and support the car that they drive on the weekend. And that's exciting. It really is re-energising, I think, the rivalry back into V8 supercars between Ford and Holden. That's probably dropped off a little bit over the last couple of years. I remember the days when you'd turn up to the racetrack having done nothing wrong, and you'd get abused by a Ford fan, because he's passionate and he goes for his Ford guys, and we were Holden at that point. And I think that's really going to bring that back into the sport, and there's going to be a lot of people that are on our bandwagon and a lot of people that are going to go for Ford and Holden and not so much us. And that's something that excites us. That's what makes our sport so great, is that rivalry and that passion about what we do. So it's a very exciting time for us, and Clipsal's, I think, really going to show that.
Any other questions, Chance?
Well, if we're all done, we'll move on, and I just wanted to thank the fans and the viewers for tuning into this live stream around Australia and around the world, as I mentioned. And also a reminder to those of you who are online, can tune in at 5 o'clock today, Australian Eastern Standard Time, for a question and answer session with Todd Kelly from race headquarters. So Todd will be taking a few more questions online about the Altima V8 supercar and its development. Well, Todd and Rick are going to disappear and get changed into their race suits in a moment for some extra photography with the Nissan Altima. So if you guys want to begin to make your way up to the change rooms. Media releases, Chris Jordan's on top of that, and media releases will be given out in a moment or two. There's also some refreshments for you here to participate in. I want to thank Todd and Rick for their contribution, Bill. And also, while we wait for Todd and Rick to come back into the room again, I believe Mark Scaife and also John Crennan are in the room for you to engage as well. A reminder that we will be making space for some one-on-one television interviews, one-on-one interviews and television around the car in a little while. Thank you.